Hey guys, Kyle King with the Barrel Age Faith. Godzilla Minus One was my movie of the year. Tolkien's Faith is actually my book of the year for 2023. And my interview of the year is from Pints with Aquinas, hosted by Matt Fradd, when Dr. Ben Reinhard was on his show.
Dr. Ben Reinhard, lovely to have you on the show.
I'm currently a professor of English at Franciscan University of Steubenville. I was born in Indiana to a Anabaptist family. Converted to Catholicism in graduate school at Notre Dame, and a Tolkien geek.
I've watched many interviews, and this one is the one that I enjoyed the most. It's not just because I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd and Tolkien guy, but it was also 3 hours of rich wisdom related to life that goes beyond Lord of the Rings. So I would encourage anybody to watch it. I just thought it was so good. You see Matt Fradd cry. Watch him here.
But Sam turned to buy water, and so came back up the hill, as day was ending once more. And there was yellow light and fire within. And the evening meal was ready, and he was expected. That might be my favorite line in the entire book. And Rose drew him in, and set him in his chair, and put little Eleanor upon his lap. You talk.
Well, I'm back. This is everything that it means to be human. This is full life. He's got his wife. He's got his first child there.
She drew him in.
She draws him in.
I love
You've
her.
got the fire.
Yeah.
You've got the fire on the hearth. You've got the meal on the table. And what more is there to life than this, right? These are the things that the whole quest for the ring is designed to help preserve.
You also see Matt Fradd get a little fired up about fireplaces being outlawed in Ireland.
Speaking of fireplaces, do you know that the bastard Irish government has outlawed fireplaces in new buildings? In
No.
new houses? Yeah. You tyrannical pricks. I would move over that.
That's 100% scouring of the Shire tyranny. We know better. We're doing this for your own good. We can't trust you to burn wood. But it's also striking out one of the most fundamental things that it means to be human, right? Like the idea of the hearth. It's one of the most sacred symbols in the Western imagination. You can find this traced from India to Ireland. The idea of the family hearth, the fire is the heart of the home and all this. It's like saying you can't plant a garden. It's like saying you can't own a dog because dogs sometimes bite. For the good of humanity, you're striking at something that it actually means to be human.
After watching the interview, Ben helped me see that Samwise Gamgee is the hero of Lord of the Rings. I always thought it was like Frodo and Gandalf and King Aragorn. I never really thought of Sam being like the key hero of Lord of the Rings, even though I knew he was significant. Listen to Ben here as he describes why Sam is the hero.
Who is the hero of the Lord of the Rings and
Sam.
why?
So it's easy. It's 100% Samwise. He's one of the first characters you meet. He's the one who the story ends with, right? Lord of the Rings puts Earth under the feet of sort of the adventure novel of romance, right? And it pulls it back down to the humble. And if you're looking at the exaltation of the humble, he's the one who is most humble at the beginning. He's the one who's most completely exalted at the end, right? And that final line, well, I'm back. It's Sam who returns to the Shire, and it's Sam who has that sort of full perfection of his life.
I couldn't agree more. Sam is a father here in the Lord of the Rings. You see that the home has been saved. In the whole novel, they're trying to save the Shire, which is home. It represents the farmland home where we have our homesteads. Sam is also an ordinary person. He's a gardener. He's a chef. He doesn't do big sword fights. He does the things that make the home possible. Very much like a mother, by the way. Maybe Tolkien, as he worked, long hours at Oxford and working on Lord of the Rings and all of these things that was happening in his life, maybe when he came home, he was so happy to see a meal on the table with his kids. And he knew that's what made the world turn.
Sam's the one who's been dragged through the desert and has been carried through by the simplest things, right? By that simple, plain common sense, right? His hobbit sense, by his love of home, by his love for his master, those basic things. So no fault, no harm being a great person, no harm becoming king of Gondor, right? But the focus of this tale is on the guy who goes home and becomes the mayor of the Shire.
Tolkien really pulls this out in Lord of the Rings when he writes, "Yet such is oft the course of deeds that move the wheels of the world. Small hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere." Of course, this gets captured in the movie. Galadriel says that even a small person can change the course of history. I also loved it that they talked about even something like a smartphone.
I carry it with me wherever I go. If I don't have it on me, there's that moment of panic, right? It dramatically increases my power. I can learn anything I want. I can access any information available to any human being at any stage of history, very nearly, right? But what's the cost of it,
When
right?
I'm anxious and scared, I can dissolve into it.
And I can dissolve into it, right? And there's a way that it sort of steals your time. You can even think about this. If a man or a hobbit has the ring, you don't acquire new life. Your life is just sort of stretched out, indefinitely stretched out. That's where you get the butter scraped over too much bread, and it's sort of eating away at the back of your mind. It's the shadow world. It's this world of unreality. It's this world where you expose your soul to all these dangers that you're not even aware that you're exposing it to, right? Because you're walking in territory that man wasn't meant to walk. The smartphone is probably as close to a ring as anything that's ever been invented in human history.
The phone in our pockets is a type of absolute power where with one click, it can become anything that you want, whether that be a Bible or a dirty magazine. I mean, it's right there at your fingertips. It's powerful and it corrupts powerfully. This is why it's important to create boundaries with your smartphone. Maybe keep your phone down in your kitchen and buy a real alarm clock, okay? Buy a real alarm clock, put it in your bedroom, and then put your phone in a place just like how we used to have it on the wall. Shoot, charge it on the wall, charge it in a station, and walk away from it. Walk away from it. This is why, I transitioned to a Wise phone. Now, they just came out with the Wise Phone 2, and if you're interested in taking a look at it, you can see in the comments description, you can see a link to it with a discount code. The Wise Phone has features such as taking pictures. It can text. It functions just like a smartphone. It's got maps, but it doesn't have the internet. It doesn't have email. It's a distraction-free phone. I know that not everyone can do this, but I actually can because I have a laptop. I have devices all around me constantly. And when I want to walk away from that, from work and go home, I have my Wise phone that keeps me disconnected from that. And if I really need to check an email, then I pop out my laptop, once maybe late in the evening after the kids go to bed quickly. But you don't have to do that. And that's good because you should be reading a book late at night before you fall asleep, maybe like Lord of the Rings. I should also say I went to Ben Reinhardt's conference on J.R.R. Tolkien in September, and he did a fabulous job organizing it. Special thanks to him. Also, Dr. Holly Ordway, Father Michael Warden, all the speakers that showed up for the conference. It was amazing. 2024, it's going to be a wild one. I think most of us are predicting it's going to be a little chaotic. That's why it's important to watch interviews like this, books like this, also your Bible, and realize that even though our world is shaking, God has given us a kingdom that cannot be shaken. And that's really the lesson of Lord of the Rings, that our world will be saved by providence. And if you are guided by that grace that he gives, then everything's going to turn out right, even when everything looks so dark. All right, God bless. Have an amazing end of your year, 2023, and beginning of 2024. May God be king. Don't forget to subscribe to Barrel Age Faith. I like this video. You can also find me on Substack at barrelagefaith.com. Lots of articles about Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, the Church Fathers, theology. So enjoy. Bye-bye.